Welcome to Mirror Fighting's Boxing Tonight. As the name suggests, this is a quickfire run-through of boxing going on tonight. I'm Martin Dorman, editor of Mirror Fighting. I'm joined by my colleague Rich Jones, who's going to take us through three huge cards tonight. We start in London with Josh Taylor, who defends his IBF and WBA super lightweight world titles against Apinun Khongsong. He from Thailand. Rich, I think just want to point out one stat here. Taylor's last four opponents have a combined record of 94 victories, 1 defeat. Khongsong, 58 victories, 32 defeats, and somehow 6 draws. On paper, at least, this is really just a takeover fight for Josh.
Yeah, exactly that. I think everyone's become so accustomed to seeing Josh Taylor in these great fights, the last few fights. I think it's a sort of fight that it's probably going to be quite tough for him to really impress, given who he's up against. But in terms of, his point of view, his preparations for what will hopefully be a huge fight in the future, it's, the perfect tune-up fight, the perfect way to keep busy after, the global pandemic. And, a fight that he's expected to win, and he'll be wanting to sort of test out a few things, new trainer, and hopefully get another win and move on to bigger and better things, I suppose.
You mentioned the new trainer, of course, Ben Davidson in his corner tonight for the first time. And really, that's probably the most interesting part of this is Ben coming into a camp or to a fighter who has never lost, of course, in 16 fights. His last fight was his biggest and best win. Then he left his trainer. So really, it'll be interesting to see how they get on.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. I think this fight is probably not going to be the best to see what the impact is. I mean, Ben Davidson, obviously, we saw his work with Tyson Fury, and I think he's probably better known for his sort of defensive work as a trainer, improving the fighter's sort of defensive skills, movement. And, Josh Taylor has been sort of prone to getting caught with big shots occasionally. So I think that's an area that he can definitely help him. Against this opponent, is that going to be something that Josh Taylor needs an awful lot of? I'm not sure, but it's going to be interesting to see how they work, if Taylor looks particularly different, if he's made any real changes to his style. And it's just going to be interesting to see how the two gel really in their first fight together.
Absolutely. So that is in London. In Germany tonight is the final of the World Boxing Super Series cruiserweight tournament. And listen, a tournament that always delivers, and this will determine the best cruiserweight in the world. Of course, Alexander Usyk won this last time. He's now moved up to heavyweight. Tonight is Yuniel Dorticos against Mairis Briedis. One of the closest fights on paper we have tonight. Rich, Dorticos with the greater reach advantage, Mairis Briedis more in your face. Who do you see coming through this one?
Yeah, it's a fascinating fight. I personally think that Dorticos might just have the edge, but I think it's impossible to call. I think, Dorticos, if he's going to win, he needs to sort of keep his distance, use that longer reach, and, try and do a similar job to what Usyk did when he beat Briedis, which is no mean feat. Obviously, Usyk, the best cruiserweight there is. For Briedis, he's a more in-your-face fighter. He's going to be trying to get up close and try and make it a tough fight. It really could go either way. It's a cliched saying, but it's a bit of a toss-up, this one, real 50-50, I think.
So the IBF Cruiserweight World title on the line, and of course the Muhammad Ali Trophy, probably the biggest trophy in sport. And we look forward to seeing what the WBSS come up with for their third edition. Hopefully that will happen next year. Finally, a double header in America, the Charlo brothers, both fighting on a pay-per-view card. Jermall Charlo takes on Sergei Derevyanchenko. An interesting sort of point about Derevyanchenko, Rich. He's had 16 fights, only 16 fights. He's 34 years of age. So obviously moved through quite slowly. This is his third shot at world title, having fought Gennady Golovkin and Daniel Jacobs, both very narrow defeats. Arguably, he beat Golovkin. Probably his last chance at this level.
Yeah, I think it's now or never, really, isn't it, for Derevyanchenko? Sorry, made a mouthful of that. It's now or never, really, for him. And as you say, he's come close twice before. And going into a fight that's going to be sort of obviously going to be an interesting scenario without fans and stuff like that. And he's going to be really up for it no matter what the scenario. And it really is now or never. He's gone close twice before. Given how well he did against Golovkin and Jacobs, could he, pull a bit more out of the bag against Jermall Charlo? It's going to be really interesting to see on Saturday night.
So that's for the WBC middleweight world title. Jermall's brother Jermell for the super welterweight title, a unification actually, WBA, IBF and WBC against Jason Rosario. Another interesting fight, Rosario coming off his upset win over Julian Williams earlier this year. Odds suggest this will be the easier of the fights for the Charlo brothers, Rich, but one that we're looking forward to as well.
Yeah, and absolutely the opposite of the other twin. You know, Jermell Charlo's opponent Rosario really got absolutely nothing to lose. You know, he's come in there, he's still quite young. He's ended up in this fight sort of without ever expecting to after his shock win last time out, and you know, he's really got no pressure on him. Whereas, you know, the pressure's all on Jermell Charlo. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Rosario showed he can punch with that TKO win last time out, and yeah, it's going to be. Obviously, Jermell Charlo the favourite, but I think, you know, Rosario's shown he can be dangerous, and he's going to be going out there looking to, you know, show that his win last time out certainly wasn't a fluke.
Absolutely. Well, that's 4 headline fights tonight. Of course, plenty of action on the undercards. And do stick with Mirror Fighting over the weekend for all the results and fallout.